if we can bring the other microphone down here to the front so that we can have the open mic discussion time here. And I haven't introduced myself in a few days, but I am from Fort Berthold, Mandan, Hidatsa, and Rikara, and I was hoping somebody would answer that question for me. What do we do? Because there's a reality to that situation of living in poverty and having a lack of health care for so long. And when somebody dangles this money in front of you, and it's a significant amount of money, how do you tell people not to take it? And geez, here I go. It's really hard. And so that's kind of like one of the situations of the reality that we face when we take this back home with us is, how do we tell people, don't take that job because it's fundamentally wrong for Mother Earth. When they're telling you, hey, cousin, I'm sorry, but I just found out I'm going to have a baby and I need this job, And it's so difficult in this day and age what we're up against with these corporate industries, because they have billions of dollars at their disposal to run campaigns about propaganda. If you're in North Dakota, you can watch commercials about how great coal is, and probably in your areas about how great uranium is or how great natural gas is. And particularly coming from there, we have number 1 or number 2 windiest state in the country, and yet it's all about oil. And people are dying where I come from, literally being killed by semi-trucks. 7 youth in the community have been killed in the past 2 years. 2 of them were only 3 and 5 years old. So there's a reality behind how do you take this back home, because it does depend on who you're related to. So I just ask for prayers for the people from Fort Berthold, because we're having a really hard time. And I'm sorry. I don't want to take time, because as a staff member of the Indigenous Environmental Network, I am fortunate to be able to talk and share my story, and this is time for people to share their stories. But it's hard. And right now they're talking about expediting the process. So, and as far as time here, we appreciate you all being here and understanding the concept of time and how we always need more of it to have these discussions. And the catch-22 is that it comes back to resources and funding. As the Indigenous Environmental Network, we work our butts off 24/7, and for some reason it seems like people think we're just huge, like we have unlimited resources at our disposal, and we definitely do not. We have 4 full-time staff, and we have a donate button on our website, and we could sure use the help to be able to continue to do these kinds of things. And that's just the reality behind the situation. And even this lady, she sent us some cookies. Firefly, if you're out there listening, that was so cool when we got this whole box of cookies that they sent to just have on the side and snack on, even ones for diabetic folks. So when we talk about help, it's not necessarily in the way of money, but food brings us together in a good way. And speaking of which, around 6:30 here, in about 20 minutes or so, maybe a little bit later, we're going to have a traditional Osage dinner and cultural entertainment. So are there reflections that people should come to the mic here? And I'm going to look at some more of our online stuff and try to get that. Okay, thanks, Tom.
Yeah, we don't have that much time. Tonight we have one of the families, Osage Nation, that has prepared their traditional foods. So we want to honor that, and they're going to be ready to serve at 6:30. So we have a moment of time here just to hear from folks that have some reflection, not statements. And so Dan's over here at the microphone. If anyone have any quick reflections.
Yeah, please, if people have a quick reflection, and I have a quick reflection. Thank you, Kandi, for reminding us that, when we have these discussions, I think even we can fall into this sense of talking about nature in the abstract, of talking about rights in the abstract. And thank you, Kandi, for reminding us. And we send our prayers to you, young lady, because what they're facing, you know, on her reservation is not abstract at all. And I think we need to remind ourselves of that. These issues we're talking about are not esoteric, theoretical, just philosophical issues. They have to do with life on the planet and how humans are living life on the planet. Thank you, Kandi.
Yeah, that's right.
We send our prayers with you.
And
Comments?
Kandi is also a cancer survivor. She doesn't mention that too much, but she's a cancer survivor.
All right.
What's that word? The Anishinaabe people, Indianish? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Any reflection? Mr. Yazzi.
Yes. Robert.
Yazzi. Getting better. What group were we on? Number 1 or number 6? Anyway, we were the group that we had a feedback saying that we're not specific. That we did a lot of arguing. We did. And the conclusion is this. Chaos is a blessing. It's one way to fix things. But somebody, what was your name? Ben. He made a point that I agree with him when he said that if the bulldozer was moving to, get rid of certain things that are precious to the land, that I would be there to stop. At the same time, he was arguing about the concept of rights. And the more specific issues were, whether the rights of Mother Earth should be the theme, or should it include other components. And I think some of us were saying, there's rights of nature over here, rights of Mother Earth over here, rights over there. And I think in Indian country, they see everything as one. It's like a corn stalk. When you plant something, you plant the idea, you plant the concept, and it grows and has branches. And that's the way we see that's how the Navajo try to explain or illustrate their worldview, especially when it comes to concepts. So I think we have work to do. We have disagreements, which is good, And that's one way to make friends, to fight each other and then come to terms with each other. We're not. So I think we need to really find a way to find common grounds, right? We know that the mainstream will not let go of certain attitude, certain things that are embedded, like rights is a means of control, a means of limitation of what's yours, right? But we had to we had to bring that in, as we had to deal with the reality. And then we had to look at the holistic picture as well. How do we fit the puzzles together? On the one hand, we have a circle and a square. We can't fit it together. That's what we have with this concept of rights of Mother Earth. But it is a good concept. We're on the right path. And I think we just need to understand each other. And we just need to understand that we don't need to repeat history, meaning that if you want to dominate, I mean, that is still there. It'll always be there. But we just got to figure out how do we find solutions. It won't, our solution won't be perfect, but surely we can come up with something that is workable. Okay, there's always going to be a challenge. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to just make a couple quick reflections on how our group went. But it seems to me that the point I was trying to make in my talk this afternoon that influenced what I ended up saying during our session was that I'm not necessarily on board with the idea of rights of nature or rights of Mother Earth. I thought we were coming here to discuss whether or not that is the way we want to frame things. And the reason I say that is I see that as something of a diversion within the indigenous world or the world of indigenous nations and peoples, because we can't even adequately protect our own territories, our own sacred places and so forth, yet we're going to develop something that seems safe for the society at large. It's okay for them to talk about nature in generalities or Mother Earth in generalities, or maybe they're not even, that's probably going too far, Mother Earth. So my point being that the whole concept of rights involves an idea of violence. It's actually embedded in there. When you do, I'm talking about in the Western system, the Western sense, and that what Robert said about domination is always going to be there. To me, I wonder, and a guy mentioned this at the UN last year. He said, "Well, how do you get domination to end? How do you get that to stop?" And I think that's a huge question, because there's an amazing photograph on the website for this conference that I saw, and it had a pristine ecological system there on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side it was like Mordor on Lord of the Rings, just completely decimated, sort of like what you saw with the tar sands and what Clayton had shown, just completely devastated. And to me, when I see that, I see that's the end result of domination, and there are lethal ways in which that operates. So I guess without going on too long here, those are the kind of things that I was trying to bring into the group to say, is that really the direction we want to go? Is that going to be adequate? There's a problem that's implicit within the discussion, but we're not necessarily making that problem explicit. And when we do, and we delve deep into the foundation, the conceptual foundation of the way everything has been set up, it does go back to that domination framework. But then what's the antidote? What's the end? In other words, the way to end that domination. Coming up with one particular phrase is not going to be adequate. It's going to have to be much more fundamental than that, and it involves everyone. So those divisions that folks were worried about, hey, we are all in this together. But the original, like what Robert Yazzi is bringing up with the fundamental laws of the Dene, it's like you can't, how do you even translate that? As soon as we're talking about rights of Mother Earth or rights of nature, is that even the same thing? It's something completely different. And not being a traditional language speaker, I can only go on what people have said to me, that when they're in their traditional language, it's a completely different world. And they don't even necessarily try to translate it. So I really admire what the Dene have done as far as attempting to help people to grasp what those deeper metaphysical concepts are and those really basic understandings of life. So I'm sorry to go on so long, but I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. I must apologize for the ones that are standing up. They want to speak. I'm thinking of the food. And thank you for Dan. He's asked that we have proper prayer for the food. And we've asked our brothers and sisters from Ecuador to come up here. And so they're going to make the blessing for the day, Thanksgiving for the day, and also for the food. So, as you notice, as you go different four directions, sometimes you don't know whether to sit down or stand up. Sometimes prayers, people turn to each four directions, so everyone's different. So, but it's been an excellent day from my observation. And these are definitely, we already projected ahead these discussions, these topics. We don't have enough time, all the time, to talk about these things. So it's good. We're going to eat some food and turn it to our brothers and sisters to put the closure to this day in prayer.
Hatong Yaya.
Great Father,
Tukui hursa tanyo kanchi makkache.
give all the strength to us
Hatong yaku gunamanda.
from the big lakes and waters,
Ashka sacha gunamanda.
from the big jungle and forest,
Hatong urku gunamanda.
from the big mountains,
Amarung mandawas.
and from the snakes or, yes, from the amaros,
Anga gunamandawas.
from the birds,
Tukui laya pishku gunamandawas.
all kinds of birds.
Paina hursa nyu kanchi runata kumpanyachung.
Their strength can help us, guide us together.
Wairamanda.
From the wind,
Alpamanda.
from the Mother Earth,
Sachamanda.
from the jungle,
Urkumanda.
from the mountains,
Paina amu gunamandawas.
from the master creators.
Nyu kanchi mahursa takui.
Give us the strength.
Nyu kanchi tanyo pagmahapay.
Please take us ahead.
Chas nacho.
It should be that. Yes. Amen.
Shuk shungulya,
Be one heart,
shuk yuyayla,
one thought.
runakas pagakanakanchi.
We are indigenous people.
Woo!
Wow.
Yup!